With elections a little over a day away, President Trump was in Chattanooga campaigning on behalf of Marsha Blackburn, who's running for the U.S. Senate. Reporter Gabrielle Hayes joins us with what the president said. Gabrielle?
Daniel, the president went through a list of things from the economy and military to jobs and immigration, but he also made a point to focus on the upcoming election and urged people to vote for Congresswoman Blackburn.
President Trump hit the ground running today campaigning for Marsha Blackburn, who's running for Senate against the Democratic nominee Phil Bredesen.
In just 2 days, the people of Tennessee are going to elect Marsha Blackburn, to the U.S. Senate.
He also commented on the economy and jobs, citing the number of people he says are now employed.
The last month alone, we added another 250,000 jobs, and nearly 500,000 Americans rejoined the workforce.
The president then made a point to mention the confirmation of Judge Kavanaugh, who was confirmed by a 50-48 Senate vote back in early October.
We overcame the Democrat smear campaign and confirmed the newest member of the United States Supreme Court, Justice Brett Kavanaugh.
He also brought up Medicare, securing the borders, and again pushed voters to get out to the polls on November 6th.
We don't want to take any chance that we get a little bit carried away with ourselves, so go out and vote.
Today's rally came after the president was in Macon, Georgia. This was one of his last stops before heading back to D.C. Daniel?